see me. Why?
Hi, everybody.
Yes, hi, Jackie Aegba.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine, thanks.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you for this session. We appreciate it.
Yeah. I know it's Labor Weekend. We have Georgina will introduce herself, and so those who are new, you can briefly tell us about yourself and what you'd like the information technology session to present, just in case it's your first time to join. Or you can tell us or send a message in a chat about what you think you'd like to be presented.
Okay, I'll go first if you don't mind. This is my first time.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is George Okero, and I'm based here in Dallas, Texas. My background right now, I'm working with, I've been in consulting, IT consulting in and out for about 10 years. And my degree was in decision sciences, which is pretty much, you know, in AI, bring it down to maybe machine learning and all that. But the trajectory that I took in my career, I didn't go into it. Now I want to go back to it. And what I want to learn today is, I just want to know how much of coding, you know, the Python and all that, do I have to learn as compared, what percentage in this do I have to learn as compared to the other aspect of statistics, algorithm modeling and all that I have to do to be able to have a career in artificial intelligence? Which one goes first? Is it the, you know, yeah. So that's what I want to learn.
Okay.
Should I start? Should I answer that question, or we should wait for others?
Yeah, you can start by answering the question before you go to the presentation.
Okay, that's fine. So let me introduce myself briefly. I'm Georgina Nyakairu Kirunda. I'm a senior data scientist by profession, and I'm glad to be here this afternoon. And I appreciate all those listening to us today, and I hope you're staying safe. And without further ado, I also want to thank Mr. Kiki for everything that you've done for our technology forum and sending out all that information. We really appreciate it. So thank you so much. And also giving me the opportunity to present this afternoon. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now to George's, Mr. George, your question about data science and what you need to do. The landscape as it speaks, you know, it keeps changing. It's important, like you said, you have the machine learning and the statistics. That's really great because you need that background for sure. But in terms of a technology stack, you need Python, R, SAS is going down the list as I speak, but mainly Python. Python is the big thing right now. Like they need Python code as like yesterday in all the verticals. So getting onto Python is a really good thing. And then there are other things that also come with the territory, like Tableau for data visualization, and I'll go through all those, but mainly Python. And then also understanding the big data technologies, cloud computing, AWS, Redshift, Cloudera, Hadoop, Apache Spark, Hive, Impala, all those basically are good additions, but Python is the main thing right now. But you need that machine learning and statistics to have the background.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Are you able to present? Or?
Yeah, I can start.
Okay.
So let me share my screen. Okay. Okay. Good afternoon once again. Thank you so much, Mr. Kugonza Kiki, for giving me this opportunity, and the rest of the viewers. As I present data science and AI in our lives, I'll go through different scenarios. I am a strong believer in making it simple so that you can understand, and you come up with use cases that can really be relevant to the type of work you're doing so that you can understand the application of data science and AI in our lives. So this is the big data era. So STEM skills are really, really needed. And before I go there, let me give you a background of my expertise. Like I said, I'm a senior data scientist expert. I have a master's in science from Northwestern University in medical informatics. And I have a master's in public health, concentration of biostatistics and epidemiology from Johns Hopkins University. And my undergrad is from Makerere University. So thank you so much. Without further ado, I'll get into this presentation. STEM, as you all know, is science, technology, engineering, and math. That's statistics. There's a shortage of STEM skills. They need professionals in that field, and mainly in the field of data science and AI. That's a good field for anyone who wants to change a career. Any advice you have for your youth or for your children, if they have the interest, I think this is a good field to go. Some of the good STEM colleges, and this is not a complete list. I just came up with some good universities that I know: MIT, Stanford, Georgia Tech, Caltech, and many other universities out there, universities of your choice. There are also online universities where you can do certificates in data science, and I'll share those resources as well. And other universities do have data science and AI related. University of Berkeley, I believe Colorado State has one as well. I mean, I think every single university now has some form of, University of Maryland, they have some form of data science and AI. So you just have to search whatever makes sense to you and whatever is convenient. But most of the colleges actually do have online courses, so you don't even have to leave your state. You can attend a certificate in data science and AI from MIT. So there's big data everywhere, and you're all aware. There's data in your cell phones. There's the internet data. There's Facebook data, Twitter, WhatsApp. Data is everywhere. So this is the big data area, and everyone is trying to harness it to get insights from that data. So it's a good time to be in IT, but you need to know where to focus. So data needs to be analyzed for information, for knowledge, for insights, and I'll give you specific use cases. And like I said, there's a shortage of data scientists and people that have analytical skills in actually every vertical. And now as we speak, most of the corporations of some kind have data science, AI incorporated in their work and processes. So it's a good place to be. I will give you an example of Watson. IBM Watson. I know that for a fact because I worked with IBM Watson at a given time, and I just want to give you a background for those that don't know IBM Watson. You can look it up. Watson actually won the Jeopardy show, and there's a former CEO and president of IBM. She's the former one, called Miss Jeannie Ramati. Are you okay? Okay. Of IBM, and currently it's Mr. Krishna. He's the IBM CEO currently. And again, it's man and machine learning. So with IBM Watson, it's basically supervised learning, which actually means that it's being taught. They give it information and then it learns. So it's being trained. That's what it means in a nutshell. It's being trained. It's a machine and it's being trained to spit out information. So as long as you train it well, it will give you the information you need. So that is the basis behind IBM Watson. It does a lot of important things like it does a lot of important things like processing information, personalized medicine for those.
How's it going, Mass?
Yeah, somebody mute.
Yeah, please.
Okay, can proceed.
Okay, thank you. Personalized medicine, which is a big thing in clinical trials, and I'll give you an example of what that means. Basically, what that means, personalized medicine, for those in the medical field, is I'm Gina, I'm here, Georgina. I may have a disease, I may have diabetes, for example, or high blood pressure. But when I'm given medication for those two diseases, I react differently. Why? And it's all around personalized medicine. So clinical trials, studies, and pharma industries want to go in and see, how about Gina? How about Jane? Jane reacts differently to this medication. Why? Because there's so many different things. Maybe I don't exercise well, maybe my genetics, maybe where I live, I'm all beat up, I'm always tired, I can't respond to the medicine. So the pharma companies are going into a concept called personalized medicine that looks at individuals, each individual. It's very expensive, of course, but if they can cluster or put together, group together individuals with similar demographics and similar profiles, they can be able to actually zone in and know that, okay, Gina has a certain disease and she reacts better at this disease, and Jen reacts better, reacts better at, when given this medication, and Jane doesn't react to that medication. Why? So those are some of the things that personalized medicine does. And all that is under data science and AI. Another thing about Watson, it does predictive analytics, meaning it makes predictions on, what are your chances that, you're African woman with age 45, and they predict that, what are your chances of getting cancer, of getting heart disease. So the predictive analytics, IBM Watson does that as well for different clients. And this is the photo of former president. And let me see if I can even play this. And if it does, let me see if it can. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe it can. I'll see if it, yeah. So it can, yeah. It's just a 6-minute.
Researchers are working on new ways to use artificial intelligence. On 60 Minutes last week, we showed you how IBM's technology named Watson is helping fight cancer. I spoke with Dr. Ned Sharpless, who runs the Lineberger Cancer Center at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. It is one of more than 20 institutes using Watson. Sharpless explained what the technology brings.
They taught Watson to read medical literature, essentially, in about a week. It was not very hard. And then Watson read 25 million papers in about another week. And then it also scanned the web for clinical trials open at other centers. And all of a sudden, we had this complete list that was sort of everything one needed to know.
Did this blow your mind?
Oh, it totally blew my mind.
Watson's cognitive computing will now be available nationwide for the first time. IBM CEO Ginny Rometty is with us. Welcome.
Thank you, Charlie.
Good morning.
IBM is betting the company on artificial intelligence.
It is the next era. I mean, just think of this, and maybe an easy way to think of it is, this is the third era of technology that's really all we've ever known. The first was machines that counted, and the second was things that were programmed. And that's everything you know today, your cell phone, anything, you program it. This is a whole generation of systems that they learn, and they just learn, you don't program them.
And so what are the uses? But we'll talk about medicine in a moment, but
Yeah.
what new world is it opening up?
To me, this is a world that's going to solve so many problems that aren't
That's true.
solved. And so, as I always say, we'll solve the unsolvable, like healthcare, like risk, like food safety. And on the other side, everyday life. In fact, I've really been bold. I think in the next 5 years, you'll use this kind of technology to make almost any important decision. And it could be around the weather, it could be around education, it could be around shopping. But at the other end, it will be about risk, finance, whether it's anything to do with anything complex in a system in our world that's out there.
It will affect everything.
Everything.
And so what is IBM and Watson doing with Quest?
So this is a great, I know you just showed the clip from 60 Minutes, which was a little bit of a introduction into this, but we've been working, and one of the first things we did with Watson was work on healthcare. So we just announced Watson Genomics with Quest. And what this is all about is being able to do genetic analysis for basically anyone in the United States. So Quest, if you know them, they're a diagnostic company. If you've ever gone to the doctor, they serve 50% of the doctors out there, who then have and are used by and serving 70% of the country's patients with cancer. So how this works is that if your doctor believes that some sort of genetic sequencing will really help you, looking at the tumor, looking at your normal tissue, they go to Quest. Quest can do the analysis, the genetic sequencing. If it's more complex, they'll use the Broad Institute. And then Watson takes over. Watson, as Charlie you just showed in the clip, has been training, and frankly, 20 of the best oncology centers in the world, and universities have been training Watson. And what he's looking for is, what are the real mutations? And then matching up with what are the possible treatments that could matter. And so it is impossible for a doctor, no matter how great they are, to keep up with this. And then goes to recommendations, go to the pathologist, to the doctor.
And you've said that it's not your goal to replace anyone, to replace a doctor in this case. What is the relationship then? What's the ideal relationship?
I've watched this relationship between the doctor. In fact, we believe this era is man and machine. And in fact, I know we say artificial intelligence, but it is really augmenting our intelligence, because I don't care what your job is, your jobs, there's so much information, and we call it cognitive because of cognitive overload. You can't keep up. In healthcare, 8,000 papers a day. And another great statistic, in the healthcare system, there is 3 million times more data than all books ever written.
Is the video done or is paused? Georgina, are you there? Hello?
Looks like she's disconnected.
Yeah, because the video is paused.
The video just paused, or
Yeah, the video
it ended.
Yeah, maybe she's disconnected. Yeah, looks like she's either internet or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me try to reach her by phone.
Okay.
Yes, Georgina, what happened?
I don't know. Hold on 1 second. Let me just go back to Zoom. Just saying connecting.
Okay. Yeah, because
yeah, just okay. So where did you stop?
we are still watching the video, and then the video paused, and then
I know. I don't know what happened. I was this internet sometimes can be funny. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's technology.
Yeah. When you want it to work, it doesn't. Okay, and okay. Yeah, give me just a second.
Okay.
Talking about technology, and technology is not working.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things they expected.
Yes, all the time, all the time. Not very dependable.
Yeah, should be coming
especially back when you need it.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll wait.
So we're still watching the IBM video.
Yes, I think it was almost halfway, so I think maybe you can continue until it's done.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we hope it doesn't take us.
We're working on new ways to use artificial intelligence. On 60 Minutes last week, we showed
Are you able to forward it?
IBM's tech.
Yeah, I'm going to forward it. Go right there. Yeah.
Okay.
All about is being able to do genetic analysis for basically anyone in the
I think that's
United
where we
States.
stopped, right?
So Quest, if you know them, they're a diagnostic company.
Yes.
If you've ever gone to the doctor, they serve 50% of the doctors out there, who then have and are used by and serving 70% of the country's patients with cancer. So how this works is that if your doctor believes that some sort of genetic sequencing will really help looking at the tumor, looking at your normal tissue,
where we stopped.
They go to Quest. Quest can do the analysis, the genetic sequencing. If it's more complex, they'll use the Broad Institute. And then Watson takes over. Watson, as Charlie, you just showed in the clip, has been training, and frankly, 20 of the best oncology centers in the world and universities have been training Watson. And what he's looking for is what are the real mutations, and then matching up with what are the possible treatments that could matter. And so it is impossible for a doctor, no matter how great they are, to keep up with this. And then go to the pathologist, to the doctor.
And you've said that it's not your goal to replace anyone, to replace a doctor. In this case, what is the relationship then? What's the ideal relationship?
I've watched this relationship with the doctor. We believe this era is man and machine. And in fact, I know we say artificial intelligence, but it is really augmenting our intelligence, because I don't care what your job is, your jobs, there's so much information, and we call it cognitive because of cognitive overload. You can't keep up. In healthcare, 8,000 papers a day. And another great statistic, in the healthcare system, there is 3 million times more data than all books ever written. So what's a doctor going to do? Yeah. And so this idea I see, and I've watched it with the oncologists, it's very collegial. It's back and forth because you're testing your ideas and your thinking, and that's how I see it working in almost every profession.
I have to ask this because we promoted this question. Critics who say machines could get too smart and doom us all.
Yeah, look, that isn't our goal. And in fact, this is supervised learning. So think of it as Watson's been trained by the best oncologists. He's been trained by the best people in risk and financial services. He's been trained for teachers by teachers. And so this type of technology, when I say augmenting, it's been trained. You have all this data.
But you talk to everybody. Are we going to reach a point in which machines are smarter than humans?
I don't think we're going to reach that point anytime soon. And this will bring so much more benefit. This is an era, and it's our goal, that this is supervised learning, and it is man and machine.
Yeah, that's what IBM
that's
always
what
says,
we'll
is
do.
man plus machine.
And machine. And that is what we see really playing out.
Yeah, Elon Musk has called artificial intelligence like summoning the demons, the concern that they could at some point become smarter than humans. But I think of Watson as more of sharing information and processing all that information more quickly so the doctors...
That's what it is. The rapidity and the velocity of the ability to assimilate information is explosion.
Yes, and the part people forget, it's the different kinds of information. It's one thing to have things written down, but it's very different because Watson has learned to read x-rays, images, photos, pictures, movies, tweets, sensors. That's really the difficult part.
And this opens up personalized medicine for everyone.
It does, in fact, and it's more than personalized medicine. It'll be personalized medicine for everyone. In fact, that's actually the meaningful part about this Quest diagnosis. This really scales this kind of technology in a way it's accessible to everyone. And that to me is important. Because by the way, this kind of technology and when you do genomic sequencing, it's typically for late stage cancers, stage 3, stage 4, and they're really difficult. And they're difficult to find what is, and if you've known anyone, you've always said, are we sure we've looked at everything? And this is one way to do that.
Yeah, and the end goal that we can cure cancer more quickly.
Absolutely, taking cancer head on.
Jenny, thanks so much.
Great to have you here.
Okay. So once again, sorry about that, and apologies for the internet. We're in technology and it decided to play games on us, but.
Yeah, so after we have 25 minutes, I don't know if you'll be able to have time for Q&A.
Oh yeah, I will. I will go through the next slides, very few. So basically the importance of data science and machine learning and artificial intelligence. Some of the use cases I wanted to go through are the business owners. You know, if you're a business owner, it actually helps you drum up your business, know your numbers, use data science and machine learning to, if you have like a business, a retail store, you can use data science and machine learning to predict what is the profile of those individuals that come to your store, and in what month, by looking at that data. That can help you boost resources, and also boost your sales, because you'll know that in this particular month, these are the type of people that come. All that can be done with data science and AI. In medical, we've just seen through IBM, you can do disease diagnosis, enhanced surgery, clinical trials. With clinical trials, the real world evidence data, which I call RWE, for those that are in medical or intending to go. And that is basically using claims data that you get from when you go to the hospital and your doctor puts in a claim. And then there's electronic health record data. That's data in electronic health records. And then retail, utilization of products, like I just gave you an example, is utilized in actually data science and AI are very important with retail stores. You know, when people are trying to send you all these adverts for example, on Amazon, when you go and buy a book, AI behind the scenes, they know that Gina likes this type of books or this type of content. And then the next time you log in, they're going to send you the same kind of products within that same line. For example, if you buy statistical books, they're not going to recommend books in language, in French, because they're using a recommendation system in data science that's recommending the product that you need to buy. So that's how some of these things work in Amazon. For telecommunication, they can, data science and AI can help determine the loss of customers so that there's more productivity. You can know the reason why your customers are leaving. And this is not just for telecom, it can also be for business. Amazon Alexa is a good example of AI. You know, that's all AI in the background. Population health, there's COVID right now. AI will be used for COVID, for contact tracing and, just understanding some of the profiles of individuals. This is still a new field, but the work is in the background. They're using AI and data science to do all this. Google Assist, those that have used Google Assist, that's all part of AI. And Watson, again, has been used as a supercomputer, and it has mathematical algorithms in the background. It's used in the financial market or financial, like in the bank. For example, let me give you an example of the bank. If you log in into your online banking system every day, probably around the same time, maybe at 6, 5 o'clock in the evening. Now, the day you log in at 3 in the morning, there's an algorithm in the back that detects and says, something is wrong. Start saying, maybe that could be fraud. So all that is AI, data science and AI in the back, trying to say that, okay, this doesn't look right. These are not the right, this is not the right pattern for this particular individual. It's out of routine, so that they'll flag it. So it's used in during fraud in the bank. Healthcare and public health and pharmaceuticals, I've gone through that. Gas and oil, to find gas and oil, you will not believe it, but they do use data science algorithms to find out, where the gas lines are. They use it. They use data science in that. Weather, predicting the weather, make sure that the predictions are really good. In agriculture, they use data science and AI quite a bit. Customer service, Watson Assist can help you these days. You call someone's office and they tell you some name you don't even know, that, hey, sorry, missed you, or something like that. But that's all AI in the background. So some of the big data technologies I wanted to discuss, and those links are there. You can go and research those, is R software. It's used for data science and machine learning. You have Python.
Someone could mute.
But someone is down. Sorry.
Let me see.
That's right.
Okay, I think they are muted.
Okay, thank you. You have Python, it's a scripting language, and it's the link is right there. There's SAS, which is statistical analysis software. The link is there. Tableau, which is a data visualization tool. There are other data visualization tools as well. But for now, I'll focus on Tableau, which is one of the most popular ones. And then there's Hadoop as well. It's another big data technology. Others include Apache Spark, Spark R, H2O, Hortonworks, Data Platform, Scala, Java. Java is used in conjunction with other languages as well. And then there's the cloud computing, Amazon, AWS, Cloudera. All those are important big data technologies. So for those that want to go into this career, those are some of the technology stack that you need to know to be competitive. And then these are learning resources for data science, AI, Coursera. The link is right there. They have a ton of classes there. EDX, it's also listed. And Udemy is also listed. So you can go there and check which classes you want. Some of them are free. Some of them have very low cost to them. You pay like maybe $100 or $200, but most of them are free. So there are so many resources out there, and even YouTube. YouTube has a ton of videos on data science, Python, and all kinds of technologies. And not to mention also SQL is one of the technologies that is important for one to know under the data science track. And last but not least, I'm just going to give these pointers for business owners and entrepreneurs as pointers. And the reason I say this is that most of us, we have some kind of business we want to do, and AI, actually, data science can really be a good value add to your business. Know your numbers, predictive analytics, and know those. You can know those through your data science, and making sure that you have the right technology in your business to give you the numbers of how you're doing in terms of sales, what you need to change, understanding patterns, what customers come when, and how to target those customers. That's all data science and AI. And without getting too much into the weeds, these are just high-level pointers for business owners. Have a vision and a dream, have a strategic approach, be innovative, think outside the box, be flexible and resilient, hardworking, of course, be a risk taker within reason, know your target market, and you can know your target market by using data science and AI, believe me or not. Be aggressive and firm in your decision-making processes. And data science and AI actually can help you with that, whatever type of business you have. And the reason why I bring this up is because most of our people in our Ugandan community actually are some kind of business owners, whether you're doing agriculture or you're doing things in Uganda or you're doing things here. These pointers can come in handy, but always utilize some of the analytics out there to help you really understand what you're doing. And without further ado, I will say thank you for listening, and I appreciate your time. And once again, sorry about that little mishap with the technology, but I appreciate all your time. And I'm ready for any questions that you may have. Okay. And Mr. Chairman, I hope I've been, Mr. Chairman, I hope I'm within my time. I have some minutes left.
Yes, thanks for the presentation. So we have 15 minutes of Q&A. Okay. So anybody with a question, you can go in, you can start asking your questions.
May I go ahead? This is Jackie.
Sure.
I don't necessarily have a question. I just wanted to tell her thank you. I love the manner in which she's broken it down, and sometimes with big data, we have it explained in maybe complex manners that may intimidate people from coming in and trying to understand and know better. And of course, people want different levels of it. Some people want to go deep into AI, Python and stuff like that. And other people want to understand it on a high level. So I love how she broke it down on a high level, and now I feel I'm able to well articulate on a high level what it is used for, in what industries, how it benefits those industries, and how it could benefit me as a small business owner. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Okay.
You're most welcome. I appreciate that, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you for the information. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Next question.
This is Pius.
Yes,
yes, Mr. Pius.
I'm not like a really huge or big in terms of, technology and science and AI, but just depending on what you have discussed with us, it looks like, data science can help us in a whole lot of ways. I'm just a teacher, so I'm just wondering, a classroom teacher. So I'm just wondering how would I use, this data science and the AI, to benefit the students all at the same time, to better understand the ways of my students. Is there a way or no way at all?
I believe there is a way. That's a use case in education for AI and data science. And I can use this example, and there could be other examples as well, but for now I can think about this, where you have your students, their grades, you collect some data on your students. Okay? Yes. You collect some data on your students, you have their grades, when they do different tests, and you keep a track of all that, maybe in a spreadsheet, or if you have a big pool of students, then maybe get an IT expert to get you a database, a relational database set up. But the way AI and data science can help you is that you can look at your different students and do some analysis around that to predict. You can predict, for example, and say that, okay, my student John does better, and I'm just using this, does better during the month of September, but doesn't do well in January. I mean, I'm just coming up with scenarios. When you dig into the weeds of the different students, once you collect the data on them and say, why is it? Then maybe you go in and start digging and finding out and saying, maybe there's something going on at home, or maybe he's distracted. And for sure you can find that because the data tells you that. You say that he's a good student, but when it comes to the month of January, the grades go down. I don't get it, So things like that, those are trends in the students on what they do better and maybe at what particular time. Maybe the other students who are very good where their grades are always good and there are no fluctuations. But for some, there may be patterns that you start noticing. So once you collect the data, you can actually tell. And then maybe you can find that, okay, the boys are doing better when I give a test in the morning than the girls, or the girls do better in the morning than the boys. All that you can't know unless you collect that data. But if you do, you can start saying, okay, maybe my students do better in the evening when I give them, maybe in the afternoon when I give them tests, as opposed to very early in the morning. Those are trends that you can know through analytics. So that is one use case I believe you can employ in teaching. Collect as much data on your students and then observe different trends on maybe different months. There are certain patterns. The data science can do that and tell you that. And you can even just do a data visualization using Tableau or even Excel, and then you can see the spikes and say something is going on here. Most of the time it's good to start simple. You can just plug in your data, you've collected it in Excel, and then you plug it into Excel spreadsheet and then do a data visualization in Excel to tell you what's going on with your data. So that can be used in education so that you understand your students better and how you can make sure that they can excel, because they have different patterns, but you can only tell once you put that data in, once you put that data probably in a spreadsheet, do a data visualization, then apply data science techniques to see what those patterns are.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Does that help?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, Georgina. Now, the chairman, Mr. Kasaija there, and I and some others, we are organizing an event which is supposed to take place next year. That is a convention for the Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom. Are there some ways you would suggest we would utilize this data science in order to organize that event effectively?
Okay, in organizing the event effectively is, of course, once again, we go back to the basics, have the data collected in a spreadsheet, and then go in and start teasing out, because I believe your members are across the country, right? In different states. Yeah, so in different states, the way I can think of a use case without getting too much into the details, but I would imagine collect the data in a simple spreadsheet is good for now, unless there are so many individuals, then you can utilize a database, but Excel is good enough because you can use Excel, collect your data in Excel, and then you can import it into Python, R, SAS, and anything, and then do your analytics there. So in this case, I'd look at it, you have members paying, and there are certain members paying more in certain states than others. So you can look at your data and say that, okay, why are they more people, some people paying more maybe in Maryland than in Georgia? And maybe you want to target your advertising there. And then you also need to know the early birds. Who are those individuals who are more committed to pay early? And who are those late individuals or members paying later in different states? They could be a state disparity, between different states and different cities. And then you can want to target your advertising or throw out your advertising to those individuals in those different states that can be responsive. And then the other thing too, you can incorporate is gender. Those men and women, and then you can see that, okay, the women are responding better than the men. Why? Then you can do a targeted ad to the men in that state. So when you go and drill into the numbers of the men in, for example, Tennessee, are not paying their registration in time so that you can plan for the convention, you can do a targeted ad to just the men. And maybe you can really make it so that it's a little bit different from the regular ad so that it can really draw them. Another thing too, you can look at age. The different people in the members, are they young people? Are the younger people paying earlier, or the older people paying earlier, and vice versa? So those patterns you can tell using data science, and it can help you boost your numbers and actually make targeted advertisement to different demographics and in different states, because one size does not fit all. And that's what data science does. It makes you drill down into the numbers to see what those different patterns are.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's extremely helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have more questions?
Yes. Can I say something?
Sure.
This is Kenneth Walube. I live in Chicago, Illinois.
Yes.
First of all, I'd like to apologize. I came on late. I was trying to find the Zoom info for this, and I couldn't find it until I talked to Henrietta. So she sent it to me. But I'd like to thank Ms. Georgina for giving us the information. And I don't really have any questions. I'm in the field of data science, but I'm just getting into the field. I recently graduated. I've taken some courses, and I'm actually wanting to ask if I can get some mentorship. If there's anyone on this forum that would like to be a mentor to me or to help me in any way, I would appreciate it. I'm in the field of trying to, get myself in the workforce and all that stuff. So I've taken the necessary coursework and the classes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking for some mentorship from my fellow Ugandans. So.
Okay. And you want to be in the field of data science and AI?
Absolutely.
Okay. I yes. We can talk offline whenever you have time, and I can guide you on what I know. I don't know everything, but the little I know, I can share.
Well, I've seen your profile, and it says you have over 15 years experience, so that's pretty decent.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm available. My contact information you can get from our chairman for the Technology Forum, and we can take it from there. I always help those that want to get into the field, because I think as Ugandans we can help one another and get into a field that is pretty lucrative, and also the demand is there for the skills. And if you're young, I can see you're a young man and looking forward to a bright future. Why not?
Absolutely.
Take it on.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be available. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I think as we aspire to be very transformative, especially when you look back home, we need all this technology to be able to empower and skill our people, our communities back home. It's extremely vital to work together. I agree wholeheartedly. And thank you very much, Ms. Georgina, for each and everything.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
So before the next question, Wanube, please share your phone numbers. So we have a WhatsApp group for technology, so you can share your numbers on the chat.
Oh, okay. Sure.
And also for those who want to get a copy of this slide, please share your emails so that I can send you the slides when the meeting is done. Okay, next question.
So this is the one and only Kizito from Chicago.
Do you have a question?
I didn't hear that. There's a lot of
No,
noise.
and I don't think that was a question. I think that
Oh, okay. It was
somebody
just
talking.
some music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any other question? Okay. So personally, I have a question. So, somebody without any statistical background or programming background, how is it easier for them to join data science?
It's easy for them to join. It's not, I can't say it's easy, but it's not impossible. They can join data science depending on their qualifications. You know, there are certificates you can take. And if I may ask a little bit, this particular individual, do they have a degree? Do they want to get one? Do they have a master's? Like, because those are different questions and different answers to those.
Yeah, somebody has a degree in maybe business administration.
Okay.
They want to basically join data science, and yeah, so and they didn't do much statistics or programming. How easier? What's the learning curve for such an individual?
Okay, if they've done, and that's a MBA, they have an MBA?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty okay. So they have an MBA, they have a master's. They can build on that by taking courses in data science and AI, and also the programming. Of course, the programming, they have to start with programming 101, and then morph into doing the data science. And if I would advise them, they would start with Python. That would be the most valuable technology to start with, because that's the most needed these days. But they can start, of course, I would recommend, depending on how much money they want to spend, they can start with the certificate, but it's always important to have a master's degree in data science or some of the statistics, so that you get the science behind it. You know, like once you get into the heavy core machine learning and things like that, the statistics actually kick in. So, and the reason I say this is because a typical profile for a data scientist, minimum education for most of them is a master's and PhD. So you'll be competing with those that have a master's and PhD. So if you want to go the quick route, you get the certificate, get into the job market, and then as finances avail themselves, work on getting a master's in data science and AI, so that you really know the fundamentals of the statistics behind that. The fact that they have an MBA, that's a big start, and that's a good thing, because they may have done some of the you know, the beginning courses in statistics, at least from what I know from an MBA. So they're not starting from really scratch, but it would be advised. But in terms, if depending on how much money you want to spend, and you don't want to go the master's route, then you have to do the data science certificate and some of the courses, and then get into the market and then take it from there. But it would be most recommended with finances, of course, to do a master's.
Okay.
At least a master's, yeah.
Okay, one final question before we wind up. What's the salary scale for somebody from a junior level to a mid-level to a senior level? What are the salary scales?
Yeah, the scales.
Yeah.
Junior, depending if you're, okay, let me say you're junior and you've left college and maybe you have a master's in data science. I'm going to use that use case scenario. You can start off with a salary and you have Python. That is number one, very important. Python is really needed. And you have Python. They can start you off at probably 70K as a junior, 80 to 70K. And then mid-level, you start getting to the six figures, high six figures, 130, 140. And then senior level, you get into probably 180 and above, 180K and above.
Impressive, 180K. I'm looking forward to that.
But it's all, and just in addition to that is very important to always keep up with the technologies and have a good technology stack on your resume. You know, as courses come up, you know, like with data visualization, you have Tableau, you have I think it's quick view or something is another one.
Click Sense.
Yeah, and then for example, you have R, you have SAS, you have Python. You know, make sure you have Hadoop, because they need these technologies. I mean, don't just have one technology, have a stack of them, but Python is your number one. And then because different companies use different things to do their work and processes. So some company may want to use Tableau for their data visualization, and then another one may want to use something else. So you need to make sure that you're braced to these technologies at all times. That's the only way you can be marketable, and use those links that I presented. Their classes that you can go through, and they can really help you with real world examples. And you should be in good shape. But the big thing is Python. Python, that one is a must-have. It's a good thing to have. That's the only way you can get competitive and get into that field comfortably. At a given time, it used to be SAS, but not anymore. SAS is good to have, but you're gonna get into the market with at least Python.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. We are on top of the hour. So those who have shared your emails, the slides and the recording of this will be sent out, and you can share it for those who have missed out.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks again, Georgina Nyakairu, for this great presentation.
Thank you so much for your time and giving me the opportunity to present. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Again, thank you. Thank you, Georgina. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
To everybody.
Great.
Okay, bye.
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 Right, thank you.
Here in Mississauga, at my parents' home.